Good morning. Good morning. I hope you all are doing really good today. My name is Kate Ahrens, and I live in Sacramento, California. And I'm getting ready to go out on a mindfulness walk. I'd like to let you know that in the upper right-hand corner, there are 3 dots that you can manage these posts. So like if you're at work and you're being interrupted, you can set it to whatever it is, do not disturb. And that way it will, make it better for you. So with that, our goal is to make friends and to reach out and build community. So with that, I'm going to get going here in a few minutes. I'm going to tag a few more of you who normally jump on for a few minutes. Let me see, what else? Today's topic is standing tall. And as I'm just standing here, and for those, just for your information, those of you who have never gone live before, you get this like big white screen and it has everybody's name. So I can't see if there's somebody on right now or not on. So to get back to the topic, right? Today's topic is standing tall. What does it mean to stand tall? And I hope that this information helps you today. It definitely has helped me. And let's see, 1, 2, just a couple more. Yep, okay. I'll get a few more on here real quick, and then I'm gonna get going. Okay, here we go. Standing tall. What does it mean to stand tall? I think if you ask that question to 10 different people, you would probably get 10 different answers. Okay? So, if you ask the question, what does it mean to stand tall? If you ask that question to 10 different people, would you get 10 different answers? Hi, Sherry. How are you doing? I'm really working on grounding myself right now. I'm really working to make that connection with the concrete and to set myself up to be successful with this wellness walk. When I first got on, I was kind of, you know what I mean? I was trying to find my pace in the content that I wanted to present. And I wasn't really present. Now I'm present. I'm here. I'm connected. I can feel it. So as I start walking, I always make sure that my shoulders and my hips are in alignment. And when I walk, I always watch for my right leg. When I have problems with the nerve damage in the back, I tend to swing my right leg. So I really focus a lot on keeping my head up and not looking down, because when I look down, I trip. And I've done damage several times by doing that. So this is a good practice and a good reminder to keep your head up and to stand tall. Well, to me, standing tall holds many different definitions. One is you walk your authentic walk. You walk and do and be as your authentic self. And you do it respectfully. You can have an open conversation with people who are hard to, if you want to call it, deal with or converse with, or whatever you want to call it. There is a way to have an open dialogue and still remain respectful and retain your dignity at the same time. You see, you know how our parents used to tell us, oh, if you act that way, you're just bringing yourself down to their level. Well, there's a lot of truth in that. There's a lot of truth in that. So standing tall to me, and why the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is so ingrained in my life, is that it's helped me to build it's helped me to build a solid foundation on which I can make good decisions, good positive decisions. And it's taught me that by doing so, it's going to help me to learn to stand tall every day, because I know that I'm not making decisions based off of bias or judgment. And I'm taking in the whole picture, and I'm making my decisions in a non-reactive way. So that means if you need to take a minute to think about what it is you need to do so that you don't feel so burdened by your daily activities, what's the result? You get that sluggish feeling, and you get to that point where we're hitting the snooze button, and we get very reactive, right? So part of standing tall, not only in your ability to walk and be your authentic self, it's learning to remain open and have those extremely hard conversations and learn how to set up boundaries that help us retain our dignity and self-worth. And maybe it was just a bell ringer this morning. Maybe it was such a big bell ringer this morning that it kind of knocked me off my feet a little bit. Each one of us right now is experiencing life in a new way, right? With COVID, we're all dealing with life in a new way. And just with that one impact on your life, that could affect you maybe 3, 4, 5 different ways, right? Especially if you've got two people in your household that have it, and say there's 6 of you. So the same is true in relationships, the same is true in work experiences. There's going to be times when we feel knocked down and we feel like we can't get back up again. You know that Chumbawamba song? What is it? Tub thumping. I get knocked down, but how's it go? I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Something like that. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. Something like that. I'm not a singer, and I'm not a rapper. This kind of got stuck in my head this morning. And it's like I've been hearing it. And it's made me want to get out and just want to go zoom as I go down the street. If I'm going zoom down the street. Guess what I'm not doing? I'm not making connection to the concrete. I'm not staying present. Where am I? I got knocked down and I got up again and you're never going to keep me down, right? The point is that we learn to slow ourselves way down. To slow ourselves way down. Because if you're locked into that mode where it's, I'm driven, gotta go. You need to stop. You need to stop, and you need to take a beat. Do a little I am breathing. Breathe in peace. Hold it. Exhale, stress, right? Breathe in peace, hold, exhale, stress. And slow ourselves down. When we are in fast mode, I'm not talking flow mode, I'm talking fast mode. And we're so hyper-focused on whatever the thing is that triggered us, guess what happens? We get knocked off our feet. We lose our ability to think rationally for a little bit, because why? We're being reactive, right? We're letting that person hook us, and we're allowing that person or that experience to dictate the outcome of our life. We're giving our power over to somebody else, right? Does that make sense? So on days when I get fired up, well, heck, every day, before I even get out of bed, I work on standing tall. I work on 5 minutes of just being grateful that I woke up that day and that, I've got another day to get it right. What does that mean? Well, it means something to me that's going to be different to you, right? And throughout this whole standing tall concept or perspective or paradigm, it means that I'm at a point where I'm done giving over control. Morning, Holly. Holly Joe, good morning. I'm done giving up control of my life to somebody else. When we have people who are talking at us instead of to us, we're not having a conversation in flow. We're having a conversation most likely in crisis. And one of the best skills that I've ever learned is how to quiet myself in a chaotic, chronic chaos situation, right? So, like with my granddaughters, I've shared this with you. I know what to do. I've been trained. I've had 35 years experience in this. So I know how to look for my exits. I know how to keep safe distance. I know how to do certain things, talk to people and help bring them down, right? And they're all skills that everybody can learn. It's not me being smarter than anybody else. It's me having this experience. So I'm sharing my experiences with you. And today, this is about standing tall. And this is about how I do it. Well, I do it by taking control of my day. I schedule my activities. I do a brainstorming group on Thursday nights. So I made sure that I emailed everybody the presentation information. Made sure of any special instructions. They, were notified. They're all adults. They all know how to check their email, right? So I'm excited about the things that I'm doing to stand tall, slow down, and learn to honor myself as well as honor other people. And you can show honor through having respect for people of different cultures, different faiths, different beliefs, right? That's one of the things is, if everybody just agrees, it would be a very black and white world. We wouldn't have a whole lot of anything. Everybody would just do whatever, right? And that's not the life that I choose to live. The life I choose to live is one that is full of fulfillment. Say that again. Full of fulfillment. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So I take the time to look at the lavender. Or the pretty things that I see along while I'm walking, and I share it with you. Why? Because we're using our senses. We're staying in the present moment. We're talking about skills and strategies that are going to help us learn those self-governing leadership skills that will unstick us for those who are stuck in whatever situation. When we learn that we are each responsible for our thoughts, feelings, and behavior, and we allow other people the same in return, our lives get better because we understand that we're no longer responsible for that person's actions, right? It's up to them to decide how they're going to participate. We can't force people to do what we want them to do. It's impossible. It's like that, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. It's very true. So you learn to flow with the situation, right? You learn to understand the whole picture. You learn to decide what you can tolerate and what you cannot tolerate. And if it's something that you cannot tolerate, then you have to learn the skills to know what you're going to do about X. So it's not a big deal, and it's a big deal. That's the dialectic. It's not a big deal because they're simple strategies. They're easy to learn. It's not a big deal, and it's a big deal because you have to be ready to come to that point of understanding that you know that there's this issue, this big issue, and you have no idea how to handle it. So that is the time that you reach out and you ask for help. The important thing is to remember to check your resources and make sure that they're valid. This morning I put out a post letting people know about getting messaged about government grants. I have never, ever heard of a grant opportunity that was advertised in that fashion. If it's like a grant for mental health, you'll find it on the mental health website, mentalhealth.org website for your county. You'll find it posted in certain areas of different levels of government. You can look under requests for proposals usually. and see what's out there. There's different funding streams, and it's always a good idea to have a little bit of basic knowledge. Now, I'm not talking about needing to be at the level of a grant writer, and it doesn't hurt to connect with a grant writer if that is where you want to go, like if you want to establish a nonprofit or something like that. And it's true that we have to also have developed that trust within ourselves to know what we need. So as we're learning and practicing our skills to remain connected in the present moment, we can continue to get our other tasks done. So, if you're at home taking care of kids, you might be folding laundry or setting up appointments or homeschooling or whatever. If you're at work, whatever your responsibilities are there. So it's our ability to produce or to participate at the level where we're coming from. There are many people out there, say here's a good example, who are dealing with the mental illness like bipolar or schizophrenia or major depressive disorders, right? Now, individuals in those with those types of disorders, they'll have episodes or brief periods of time where they struggle with, say, getting out of bed or taking care of themselves, personal hygiene or, whatever. That's a little different story. And there may be times when they need additional help. And it doesn't mean that they can't have a high quality of life. Just means they need additional help. But it's like us. Sometimes we need additional help, right? So we need to be willing to shuck off all the preconceived notions and all the thought distortions that we have allowed to build up over time. And I think it's both. I think it's both nature versus nurture. There are some people, like my granddaughters, they had no control over being born hooked on meth. They were meth babies, both of them, the two adopted ones. And it's hit them in several ways. It's impacted their life. It took their hearing. It took their ability to manage their emotions. It took their communication, level of understanding, way down. So it does not mean that they cannot have a high quality of life. It just means that they're going to always need some sort of help. And even for us, we're going to need times. Even me, I'm going to need help. So what do? I build community. I work on practicing what I teach. I work on developing the skills that are going to take me to the next level. So I ask questions. I watch, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 YouTube videos a day. Right now I'm working on Zoom and just the basics of Facebook and YouTube. And that's quite a bit right now, and that's okay. So yesterday I watched a whole bunch of stuff on presentation and how to present content. Well, sometimes I will stick to the script, and sometimes I will kind of roll with the flow. And again, that's going to be affected by my ability to stay present, right? So I know for me, if I'm all revved up, I'm not hearing people. So the more I slow down upstairs, and the more I communicate how I feel, I don't mean being stuck and wallowing in pain. I mean expressing that you've been hurt, learning to look at the whole situation, understand your part of the process, and then learn from the experience and move on. You know, the bad things that have happened in my life, well, it's not going to change. They've happened. And I've learned and grown from them. So that's what I'm talking about. Our ability or our resilience to bounce back. Our ability or resilience to push aside our personal differences and have an open dialogue and be respectful. That's called adulting, right? And even people who have episodes can still learn the basic skills. There's no doubt about that. So admission is maybe our first step into circling up to take it to the next level, to understand that we have to start with that inside-out approach that helps us look intrinsically at why we act or react the way we are presenting in that present moment, and to look and see if there's anything that we need to change or want to change, and to help us, figure out ideas and ways to manage to keep moving forward throughout our day. So that, to me, is the first step into personal growth, is one, understanding that there's a problem, two, taking responsibility for what you can do about it, three, and then look at your resources, check them, make sure that you're dealing with legit people, with a legit person, that it's not someone that's trying to take advantage of you, right? Well, how do you know that? Well, behavior speaks volumes. So, it's like when we look at situations, we have to kind of pretend like we're looking through prescription glasses. One of the things that I like to use, it's a visual diagram. And if you look at it one way, it looks like a young lady. If you look at it another way, it looks like an old crone. Stephen Covey also uses this one example. It's the Statue of Liberty. And you see, just like clouds around it. And then they do like a pull-out view, like a panorama view. And then you see that it's like a Statue of Liberty in somebody's hand. So it's all about perspective. It's all about how we are seeing the world and how we're reacting to it. So it's true that, if you get real worried, maybe you shouldn't listen to the news. And at the same time, it's still smart to know what's going on. So if someone contacts you about government grants and they're asking you for your personal information and social security numbers and stuff like that, don't do it. Don't do it, because it usually, government grants, they require you going to a website, specified website, and you have to download the application and you have to apply for it. And it has to go through a long process. It's not quick. You don't have someone sending you money in the mail. Don't work like that. Not as far as I know. So, standing tall requires us to look at the whole situation. It requires us to be open and honest with ourselves and understand that we have to accept our present situation, and it doesn't mean that we have to like it. It means for the greater good that we're willing and capable to meet and remain open so that you can create that win-win, which means that we'll both maybe have to give something up to get where we want to be, right? Or where we can agree upon to be at that given moment. And then you figure out where to go next and where to go next, right? Well, how do you know if it's effective? Well, if you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and, you open yourself up to the possibility of being hurt, because we don't have control over the other person, right? We know that we're effective when we understand that if we don't deal with whatever the emotional trigger is or what we're feeling, that it's going to start bleeding into every other area of our life until it's addressed effectively. Until we understand, it's kind of like that Aesop fable of the goose and the golden egg. And the farmer, he gets the golden egg. He goes out every morning after, he had the first one inspected to make sure it was real, right? And then he gets real impatient. And he chops off the goose, looks inside, no golden eggs, right? So it's the same with us. So in that story, what's being produced is the golden egg. And then the producer is the goose, right? Well, think of the farmer as poor management or poor upper management. Wanting quick results, Band-Aid fixes, and those types of things only work for very short periods of time, right? So it's our ability to understand that when the other person feels seen, heard, and appreciated, that they're going to open up and they're going to start developing trust with you, that they can have those two-way conversations where one person isn't talking at you and the other one is trying to talk to you. So it's not an easy skill to learn until we have learned to deal with our own internal stuff. So standing tall means, to me, that every day I participate in my own, I'm using this term lightly, recovery, that I continue encouraging others by offering common sense solutions to everyday problems, to continue to work as a laptop grammapreneur. I love that, laptop grammapreneur. And to do things that fill me with joy, like doing my brainstorming sessions and watching tutorials so that I learn new skills that will help me get better at presenting online. So yes, this is sometimes a little overwhelming when you're on camera like this. And sometimes it's no big deal. When I first started, I shared this story once before, I think this week, that when I first started doing lives, that I used to say hit and run instead of hit and record. Because that's kind of what it felt like. You feel that emotion, all those emotions wash over you. And in that moment, you're in that fright, flight, or freeze. And you may have to be making some quick decisions. And sometimes that's not always easy to do, right? So understanding and acceptance of where you're at, and understanding that it's just for now, that's what helps me remain standing tall and present and in the moment. So that's what I have to share with you today, and I'm in a lot better headspace, so thank you all for that. Thank you for being a part of the Glow process, and let's just keep building community, okay? You all have a terrific day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.